On today's episode, we're sitting down with Cozii Proptech founder Yemi. He's going to show us how real estate investors can streamline their management with his software. And enjoy the show. Hey guys, it's Taco from Tacobout Investing. So for people who are getting into the real estate world and they're starting to have multiple tenants, one of the things I find that consumes a lot of your time is meeting with all the tenants, like doing all of the leases, sending out messages to the tenants or like a fire alarm monthly testing. You got to go out and hand out the notices, even just maintenance requests, like taking in all those phone calls. Like the more and more of that stuff kind of comes in, even on a small scale, like 5, it can be a little bit of a time consuming kind of task. So, Yemi, he's created this app and it's called Cozii. And what that's going to do, it's going to fix a lot of those issues, automate them. It's an amazing platform. It's online. You can use it on your mobile phone. It can be on a tablet. It's a really cool and unique product. And I met Yemi at a home investor show, the Tiny Home Show in Ancaster. And I walked over to his booth, and when I was talking to him and he was showing me all this stuff, I was blown away on how cool he has created this platform, and it's fixing a lot of the hurdles that I would have never thought would have been automated. And then there's like a lot of bigger platforms out there, but like you need a lot of units to make the cost make sense. And I think, Yemi and Cozii, they are like coming in that really good sweet spot and are fixing a lot of problems. So I'm not going to take too much of Yemi's thunder. Let's get Yemi on here and let him kind of introduce himself and a little bit of Cozii.
Hey, Mark. Thanks for having me here. It's nice to be here again. Yes, I'm the founder of Cozii Technologies, and that's exactly, you've described basically all of the things that we do. Thank you. So our mission here is to help landlords to basically optimize their operations of their rental properties, but also to make the relationship between landlord and tenants much more better and easy. What people say is that it's easy for you to find sometimes it may be easy for you to find a rental place, but what happens after that? The landlord's tenants are basically like finding a date or something like that. And then What happens after that is like, you need to be able to continue to provide the services. You need to keep them happy, and you have to be accountable and keep them accountable as well. So that's what Cozii platform provides for landlords.
Awesome. Okay. So for the listeners, Cozii is a property management platform.
Yes.
And the things you can do on Cozii is, manage tenants, maintenance calls, applications.
Yeah, rent payments. That's right.
And then, so all of that's encompassed in through the app. What made you come up with, at what point, I guess, did you feel that you saw a need in the marketplace to kind of go and start developing this kind of platform?
So I think the aha moment for me was like combination of personal experience. I had a terrible personal experience as a tenant.
Okay.
And I remember back then, this was part of when I was doing my master's program, and where I was living, that was back in Kingston, Ontario, actually.
Okay.
My landlord lives in the States, and so he barely comes over for to see what's happening in terms of properties and everything. So I found myself in a precarious situation once, and I was like, okay, this is not good for my living condition. Yeah. So it was at that point I started thinking there has to be a better way for landlords to be able to manage their rental property. Luckily enough for me, around the same time, my mom decided to get a rental property, and we thought, okay, who will be the one to manage the rental property?
Right.
That's by default me, but I don't want to do all of the heavy work.
Yeah.
I need a solution that can help to facilitate that. And that was my aha moment. It was at that point I thought there has to be a better way. I look into the market to see what's happening in the market. Most of the platforms they were geared towards enterprise big corporations and all of those things.
Yeah, that's true. I find that for sure that's a big thing you'll find. Like, funny enough, I'm wearing Yardi.
Yeah.
They're a big platform. Like, it's geared. Like, a lot of the platforms are definitely big. Like, you got to have 50 units, 100 units, thousands of units, and that's where like the cost and the considerations start to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But like you're saying, for new investors or smaller investors, or even investors that are trying to manage different things from afar, there really isn't an all-encompassing platform that's doing everything that Cozii doing.
That's right.
So let's jump into Cozii. Let's talk a little bit about Cozii. What are some of the things that Cozii on a high level covers, and then we'll kind of dive deep into each individual one.
So on a high level, Cozii is a all-in-one platform for small and medium scale landlords. So if you're a landlord that owns rental properties of a few units, let's say 5 to 10 units, investment properties in university towns within the GTA, and so on and so forth, Cozii is the platform for you because it helps you to be able to put together all of the little things that you would do with like different applications, combined with manual processes and all of that, from like rent payment to finding handyman, to sending notices out and all of that. It brings everything together into one platform. That way you don't need to have like, a multiplex of like, apps for you to. Okay.
So Cozii you'll set up a tenant profile, right?
That's right.
So just to kind of go from my understanding of it and, the times I've been using it. So I'll log in as a tenant. I will be a tenant, and then I will have my own kind of space. And in there, it'll say like the building I'm in, my unit number, and on there I'll have notifications, which will be like water shutoffs or, rent increases coming up. I can pay my payment through the platform to my landlord.
To your landlord, yes.
And as well, we can also, you do the tenant screening on there.
Yeah.
Do you run credit checks through the platform as well?
So we're introducing like new features that will be for like, for that purpose, where you'll be able to run, credit check and a few other things, including like, e-agreements and all of that, like electronic contracts and all of that.
Okay. So for like leases and that sort of stuff.
Yes.
Okay. And then, the other thing that I remember that you could do on there is I could send as a tenant a maintenance request to my landlord. Like, hey, here's a picture, and on it, the platform, it will force me to enter in certain information like who I am, my, like the suite number.
Yes.
I have to upload some photos of the issue, and I have to identify what the type of issue it is, whether it's electrical, a plumbing issue. And I'm getting the tenant to do all this work, and then it will get sent over to the landlord side of things.
That's right. So what that does is that like it captures all of the important information directly coming from the tenant. And then you get that notification of that information. And from there, you can follow up as a landlord. Whatever you want to do with it, you can follow up to say, yes, I'm coming over to fix that or to get that done. Or you can triage that to like, if you have like a in-house, like, handyman or something like that work, you can triage that. You can also find handyman on the platform as well too. So,
okay. So you also have a job market. So let's go. Okay. So that was the tenant side.
Yeah.
From the landlord side. So as a landlord, I can list my building. Do you have like a platform marketplace for rentals too, or no, not yet?
Yeah, we have partnerships, for that purpose. Okay. And we will be introducing like one as well, so that will be embedded with that, with that platform in the future.
Okay, so I can list my property, or I can put my property, and I can get my tenants to sign up onto this platform, and then they would have to fill out the tenant agreement, all of their information, and you're going to be adding the credit check feature.
That's right.
So I could do all of that tenant vetting that I would need to do within the platform. And then once accepted, I could assign them to my unit.
That's right.
Right. And then from my unit, if they have a tenant request, it comes up. It's really neat on the platform, and you can kind of select how you want to approach it. And you can message the tenants directly in the platform as, you can call yourself like ABC Property Management or whatever. So you can maintain that professional appearance, and it doesn't feel like a mom pop sort of.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's the option where you can have your name as a business or names.
Yeah.
Or you can also, for people that just wants to have like maybe their name is their business name, then that works as well. So you can use either one. So when you send the information, you can send the information to tenant on individual basis, or you can send it to them as a group. So if you have say for example, you want to send a reminder to like a particular tenant, you can do it. But if you want to send like a communications, like a notice to like all tenants, like fire check or something like that, you can do that as one.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. So how does your business model work? Like for an investor, like what are the costs like, or is it a subscription? Is it like a one-time fee? Like how is it that your model works for investors?
So for potential customers, like it is a subscription fees. You pay like a monthly subscription.
Yep.
And from there, if there's like other unique service that you need, for example, you need to get connected to like handyman, you need to do vetting and everything, that would be an extra cost.
Okay.
However, the advantage for that is you don't have to have like we don't require you to have like a minimum number of units for you to use on the platform.
Okay.
Compared to like, some of the enterprise that you have to have at least maybe like 100 units or 50 units or something like that. So you could have like 3-5 units and you're fine to use the platform for that one.
Okay. So kind of like an a la carte, I can eat as much as I want off the menu, or I can keep as little as I want. If I'm on a diet, I don't have to spend everything on it. Like if I already have a good handyman, I don't need to be forced into this sort of scenario. But if I needed an extra handyman and it's available, I can take advantage of it.
Absolutely. Right? So that's the perfect way to describe it.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And then, so are the fees like property management like is it for per user, or do you do like per tenant? Like how do you, or like is it per property? Like how do you break out that subscription fee?
So we break it out in terms of like the number of units that you have and the tier of it. So if you have package in terms of package, so you have like up to 5 units, the subscription is 1 point, then you have more than 5 units or like 20 units. And then if you have above that, then that's another package.
Okay, so it's packaged based on the number of units, and it doesn't change as long as you stay within that threshold.
As long as you stay within that threshold.
And so, are units property based, or are they like unit based? So if I have a duplex, does that count as 2 units or 1? Just so that.
It depends on the number of, basically, so the units are based on tenants, really. So
okay, so tenant based.
Yeah, tenant based. So if you have like 4 tenants, 2 tenants, then it probably speaks to like, maybe you have like 2 apartments or something like that.
Okay, so the configuration can be, it doesn't matter, it's just the number of tenants. Okay, I just wanted to be clear on that. I wasn't aware. Okay, so Cozii, let's dive into it. Let's show me the app, and we can kind of go over what it is and the feel and the look of the app here. So this is your dashboard?
Yeah, so this is the dashboard. What we see here is the landlord side of Cozii, and then you have the dashboard here on the.
So on the dashboard here, you have these. You have photos of existing tenants, and they're your top tenants. Like, so who are these? What am I seeing on this dashboard?
So here we have, when you open the dashboard, you get to see like a quick tool where you can use for like different activities. But then next to that, you'll see a recommendation of what we call like, top tenant picks. Yeah. So one thing that we've done is, as a landlord, when you come here, you get suggestions of like, people that are looking for like, places to like,
Oh, okay. So these are potential tenants that I could have.
That's
and
right.
Then at the top is my quick links here, which I have new tenant, invite a new tenant, tenant screening, tenant agreement.
That's right.
And then I have 3 other spaces which we can customize for like common use.
That you can customize for common use.
Amazing. Okay.
So you see like, the recommendations, and after that you see like basically like an overview of your income, like rent, finances, and all of that.
Okay, so on here, so it's showing me the number of repairs I've done, total repair costs, the rent I've collected, any pending rent, and this is the rent collected in the app?
That's right, through the app.
Okay, and then it's showing my profitability at the bottom there.
That's right. And then you have like the property listing. Basically, this just shows like your properties.
The breakout of the property. So it shows a picture of kind of like the property, and I can choose what photo I put up on that?
Oh, yeah. You can upload it. You can, as part of like, the setup.
Okay. And sorry, just go back to that 1 second. I just want to talk about what it shows here. So on here, so you get a picture of your property. It's got the unit numbers, the property type, whether it's a condo, a house, the year of the property, which is amazing. So you kind of get an idea of like the age of the project, the square footage, the number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, and then your calculations for the property. So collected rents, pending rents, and a little, financial breakdown on the side of each property. Okay. So now you're going to click on the property.
Yeah. So when you click on the properties, then you see like details, a bit more detail of each property. We're talking about like, again, the location of the property types and all of that. You also see like documents.
Okay. So these documents, so on here, so can I upload any document? So like the floor plans seems like
floor plans, rentals, and all of that.
Okay. So that's amazing. So you can have a section to upload documents, which is really good because when I do renos, I like to talk about the specs, and we like to upload specs with your profile. So, like each tenant, like each building that you renovate, like what floor it was, what paint color it was, what style of trim did you use in that unit? And it's really neat that you could have it within your app so that, if you renovated the unit and you're like, oh, what color did I paint that thing? You know it, right? Or your handyman's going to call you. It's right there at your fingertips through the app.
Yeah.
And then on the side here, you have the listed amenities, as well, like parking, laundry, whether the building has air conditioning. Oh, and what type, right? So this lists the type of, air conditioning, and what is this? Oh, the heating. As well. Okay. And then any extras, or is this like, what are these little things here?
Yeah. The other one are just like, essentials like fireplace, walk-in closet, what else you have in each of the apartments, and then safety and privacy, for example, maybe the property is like pets friendly, you have smoke alarm and everything. So.
Oh, and it's even, you can list kind of any other little amenities that I have within the property, to help categorize how that property is built out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the other stuff regarding the building itself. So this is a pet friendly building, right? Like some buildings, maybe like a condo doesn't allow pets or anything like that. Or, I see like first aid kits, like, do you have any of that sort of stuff set up on the property itself? And then, you have a list of house rules as well. So does me as the landlord, do I enter these in? Like, am I like picking these off of a list and kind of categorizing each of my buildings as I'm building my unit?
So what happened is like you have some of the essentials like, a standard building, and you just need to add. But then you can customize as well to add your own specific, maybe if there's a house rules or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing.
So that gives you all of that information. And
and it also shows at the top here, how many units are vacant and how many units are occupied on your individual building, which is great to know.
Mm-hmm. And from that listing, you can also view tenants.
Oh, and then it'll show, okay, so you can click on view tenants and it'll list the tenants you have in the building. And also there's quick buttons available if you need to call that tenant or text that tenant, all within the app, correct?
That's right.
Oh, that's amazing.
And as you dive in, to view the profile of each of the tenants, then you get a little bit more detailed information about the tenant. That way the tenants that you have.
That is really cool. So you have the tenant score, you have, the home and rental history, any eviction history, criminal history, your credit history is also available on this. And then all of the data from your tenant. So you have their name, their gender, their email address, their actual address, their phone number, and then their occupation. So this is a lot of data that you're going to be able to get right off of the bat.
I got a producer question.
Yeah, absolutely.
The calls and texting, is that done within the app or is that using your phone's calling and texting feature?
So the call and texting is done within the app. You'll be able to text. It takes you to a message, inbox where you'll be able to, message and you'll be able to call. And
it would call the tenant's app.
It will call the tenant's phone number, contact number. Yes.
Yeah. So from the app, you just,
basically.
So you don't have to necessarily give your personal phone number out to all your tenants.
Yeah, you don't necessarily have to do that, but I'm assuming that most landlords need to provide their contact number to the tenants, for other reasons. But yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. Okay, so let's keep diving in here. Some of the other stuff that we got in here. Okay, so when we have the tenant documents, so they're screening any of the documents that we got when we onboarded this tenant as one of ours.
That's right. So then you can see it, which means that when you go to each of the tenants, you can see things the lease agreements, that is for that particular tenant. You can see that information. If you send that N4 notices or something like that, you'll be, you can upload that and attach.
This is great. This is a lot more in depth than I ever imagined. And what's nice is it's super intuitive. As we're using this app here, it's no different than using your phone. You just swipe up, swipe to the left, hit the menu on the side. It's very, very good job. Okay. So what else? Show us a few more things here. Can you show us how? Okay, no, you go ahead. Show me what you were going to show me, and then I'll continue to ask questions.
So you have that, and then you have the maintenance part of things. Let's see, the maintenance.
That's perfect. We don't do maintenance, never.
So when you're sending to get maintenance requests from maintenance payments, these are probably some of the frequent activities or actions by with tenants. So maintenance definitely here.
So these maintenance, okay, yeah. So it's a maintenance list and it's by month. Is this for this building or is this for my whole, all of my portfolio?
It is for all of your portfolio.
Okay. And then these are the requests. It's broken out by month.
It is, yes.
And then on each of these requests, so on the ones that are completed, you have an icon to show that there's a check mark that it's completed. And then you have this circular, half circle with a little arrow, I guess.
Yeah,
is ongoing. That showing pending?
Pending, yes.
And then the ongoing one is a full circle with 3 dots in the middle. Okay, so you can kind of tell just by looking at the maintenance request where it's at or not.
Absolutely.
And so click into one of these apps. Oh, and what's really cool too is at the top you could sort by the maintenance request. So right now we're looking at all of them, so you can hit pending and only the pending ones will show up. Ongoing ones, it'll show up the ongoing ones, and obviously completed. You can check any of the maintenance that's been completed, especially if somebody's on the phone, maybe asking you if this or that got completed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so you can go in there, see details of each completed item, and when you look at it, when you get the request, you can say you as a landlord, you're in control in adding the status of that request. You accept it. The tenants gets a notification, and then they can see what's happening in terms of the progress of the maintenance and all of that. And from there you can go on to book a service person, a handyman, if you need to. Yeah, basically.
Okay, so this is booking a service pro, and these are now contractors.
These are contractors,
And then how do I assign a contractor a job?
So you basically you can post a job.
Okay.
Or you can request for a handyman. The difference here is that when you post a job, you basically put in the information out there to say, I need something. You're waiting
for it. It's not an emergency.
Absolutely. But in this case, the option is when you go to request after filling in all of the.
Okay. Let's walk through it.
Yeah.
So we click request a handyman.
Yeah.
And on there, it's going to show you kind of the rooms. A visual representation of the room. So there's a couch for a living room, a bed for a bedroom, stove for a kitchen, bathroom, laundry room, backyard, exterior, others, etc. So we'll select, let's say the problem's in the bedroom. Oh, sorry.
So, and then you go next.
Okay. And then, so from that, it's going to list a bunch of the issues that could potentially happen. So carpet cleaning, flooring, moving help, knobs and locks, mold remediation, painting. So it'll list kind of the categories within that space that are available. And when we go back, can I go back?
Yeah, you can go back with
is this, so can you select multiple spaces or?
Well, you can select, right now it's only one. So you can only select one at a time. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's say it's carpet cleaning. And then you're going to hit next.
Then go next.
And then, so these are the handymen that are potentially available to take on your project.
That's right.
Okay. And then so the handyman have a picture of the handyman, their names. It's got a star rating. How do they get the star rating? Like,
the star rating comes from reviews and ratings from customers that have used them, successful job completed and all of that.
Okay, amazing. And then how do we add a handyman?
So then from there, you can select one. You can view the profile if you want. Then go next. And then you have all of the information that you need to put in. Like select the property, you have the information for the property, urgency of the repairs, request due date and all of that. And then you can add a little bit more information to describe the issues.
Okay, so this is the information you're going to give to the handyman, correct? So
yes.
You're going to have the property, unit number, the level of urgency. Does it show?
Yeah.
What are the three types what are the urgency levels?
So the urgency here is maybe severe, low, then medium, and then maybe severe. So you have low, medium, and severe. So low means that obviously you don't have to worry about it. Maybe
it's not an immediate need.
Yeah,
of course.
immediate.
Okay, that's very cool. And then you can add notes, and it will email to the handyman.
Yes. Then.
Okay, so then actually before you send it, it will show you a breakdown of all the information that you're going to send. It's going to have where the service is, the address. I like that it has a service ID, so like a purchase order number there, and then the urgency of the report, the schedule time as well, and then your description and any photos.
That's right. And then that's it. Then with that summary, then you can go ahead and confirm booking, and from that point, the handyman gets notification, and then they'll look at it, review, and accept or decline depending on the availability and all of that. And then you get another notification about that. And from there, the job is in progress, and you can get, notification whenever they get a job, whenever they're on their way and they get the job done, you can get notification about all of that.
So the handyman and contractors, you would ideally want them to maximize the potential of this platform as they would be logged in and be a Cozii handyman or Cozii renovator.
Yeah, they will sign up as their own private business, so whatever the business is called, they can sign up. They're not like a Cozii, they're using a platform.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They would be registered through your platform.
Absolutely.
So it's all in one.
All in one.
So we could list our renovation company in there, and then as jobs came in, we can pick and choose.
And they can also manage their calendars as well. So in terms of bookings and everything.
Oh, that's amazing.
Specific to that.
So it'll also help a contractor who's trying to kind of get out there and schedule calls and all that sort of stuff. And this is a good way to get in. So if there's any contractors out there, reach out to this guy. It might be helpful for you, especially if you're starting out or trying to get into the real estate space. It's a really good, cool thing that it's everything is together and seamless, right? Like one cool vertically integrated system. Can you show on this, how I would add a building quickly?
Absolutely. So how to add a building? So you go to the property, and then from there, you see and then you can add the property. So you go to add the property.
Okay.
And then you put in all of the information from the photos, the details of the property name, year built, location, and the type of property it is, single unit or multi-unit.
Okay, awesome.
And then if you choose multi-unit, for example, and that means that you need to add details of each of the units within the property.
Oh, okay. So that's cool. So I can build out each unit. So you have unit 3, unit 1, unit 2, right. And then each one I can write the square footage, the number of bedrooms, bathrooms, even the rent that I intend to list it at. And then, okay, so here's where you can see all of the amenities and the essentials that I'm adding. And I can do this per unit?
Yes, you can do this per unit. But this is the amenities for each of the
building, and then
of the building.
When you add a unit, you could also add it in there.
That's right.
Okay. Okay. Very, very cool. And then you can add documents too for the building, right? So
you can upload documents as well.
A building inspection, any of that sort of stuff, like any documents that I got when I originally purchased the building.
Yes.
I can add that all on my.
You can have documents as well.
Very,
So
very cool.
upload documents, you'll be able to upload your document.
It's pretty amazing, man.
Yeah. So again, like the idea is for us to have this platform that's, intuitive, like all-in-one solutions for for landlords. That way, like all of the things that perhaps maybe they're using like 4 different apps currently.
Yes.
One for everything is.
You're eliminating the multiple, like going into one app for this, one app for that.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so what about, what kind of support and service do you guys offer for people using your apps? Like, if I'm having an issue adding a building or something like that, like what is the kind of like service level agreement you guys have?
We provide like real time, support, based on ticketing system.
Okay.
So if you're having like an issue, like using it, you can submit a ticket, or you can also kind of reach out to us through the app, and we'll be able to provide you with like a real time support. At the same time, there's also almost like a FAQ that you can use as a guide if you want to kind of troubleshoot it by yourself.
Okay, that's amazing. Okay, so you guys will actually reply within the app and help out a user. Right. That is amazing. Yeah.
But if for the user, if you have somebody that owns multi units, we can definitely, depending on the package they have, we can also help them have like a phone call, support that helps them to walk through the platform and help them to kind of figure out things, what they want to figure out using the platform.
That is very cool. So you got really good support back in this system. Okay, this is a lot. It's amazing though. It's incredible that like you've been able to put kind of all of these little pieces together and streamline a lot of the process and a lot of the headaches really that when it comes to dealing with tenants after you add them to your, I guess, your roster. I don't even know what to say, but yeah, like when you add a tenant on board and add them to your property. So that's very amazing stuff.
Registry, yeah.
Okay, so amazing, powerful app. I'm loving it. I love everything about it. I mean, that's why I reached out to you and we kind of got together and we've been having all these meetings ever since. So your app, where do we find your app? Where is it? And, how do we get to Cozii first?
Absolutely. So right now you can download Cozii Proptech.
Yep.
On iOS or Google Android. So whether you use iOS or Google Android, you can download Cozii Proptech. Just go to the App Store, type in Cozii, Cozii, and then Proptech, Proptech, Cozii Proptech, right here. Just put it exactly in there.
You have to give me one of those sweats.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we'll bring some for people in the shade for a raffle or something like that.
Yeah, sounds good.
So you can go on the App Store and you'll be able to download the application.
Okay, so basically the major platforms on the App Store, it's available, so you can get that info there. So where's Cozii today? Like, how is this only in Canada? Are you doing in the States? Like where are you today? And then where do you see yourself headed? Like, what is the goal right now? To release this amazing product, and continue to grow it? Like, what's your plan for that?
So right now, we have, Cozii is fully Canadian based right now. Over the past, few months, especially from the beginning of the year, we've gotten few interest, in the state across the board. And we're so excited about the opportunities. Later in summer, I'll be traveling to New York and Chicago, to talk a little bit more and establish more partnership there. So we believe definitely our platform is a global platform that you can use wherever you may be around the world. Even though it's a Canadian software company, but you can literally use it anywhere around the world. So we've achieved some incredible milestones, especially over the past 1 year now. Obviously, COVID makes things a little bit slower than usual.
For sure.
But everybody's excited that COVID is over, I believe. And now we can kind of move on with life, and truly kind of do what we all know how to do best. So the future is really bright, really. We're looking for, to increase our partnerships, across, Canada. Thank you for, inviting me. I know you and I, we've been talking. So we're looking to get more partnerships with real estate agents, mortgage lenders, home renovations and all of that.
Okay,
For
so
us to be
really
able to kind of like,
positioning yourself into the
position
market.
ourselves
That's
into the
amazing.
market. And absolutely.
Okay, so another thing we like to talk about on our show is kind of like, I mean, you've built this amazing app and this platform, and it's really awesome to see kind of where you're at. And it's nice to know, like, what advice would you give yourself if you could talk to yourself today, or even just to like newer, younger entrepreneurs, like any of the side hustles that you did to get to today, you know, like, I always talk about this guy, but there's a guy and they, you know, our last guest, Evan, talked about like cutting grass. Cutting grass is so simple, so easy. You can make a good amount of money on the side to kind of help perpetuate you forward when it comes to investing. So what kind of advice do you give to that? Any tech advice? Like a good way to develop these things? I don't know. This is like a different space for me.
I know.
But yeah, like what kind of sort of stuff would you hand out to yourself?
Well, I think when it comes to like, you know, building a business / investment in general, I'm always saying there's like two ways in which you can go about it. You know, you can either be that guy that is kind of like, you know, happy to like, you know, have a small business that's much more predictable.
Yep.
And where like, you know, especially cash flow, you know that like if you go into the market, if you go into into anywhere, like you can buy, sell, or, you know, get exchange of money on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one part. Then you have like, you know, the second part, which is, guys and folks that are looking more into like, you know, the bigger picture, and they want to bet big on something that is more like, you know, innovative and all of that. But I think at the end of the day, what people need to understand that whether you are like, you know, trying to like do, you know, on a small scale or like bet big, you have to start from somewhere, you know, and that is kind of like critical. And for me, what I've found is starting from that somewhere requires you to surround yourself with people of like minds, you know, people that believe in the same thing, in similar things that you're working on, and they see like, you know, you have common goals that you can bounce idea of. Nobody knows it all. And that's why you have to surround yourself with like, you know, people that can help you to be able to.
No, for sure. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that there's lots of sayings around this, but it's always like, you are, if 5 of your friends are soccer players, you're going to be the 6th soccer player.
Yeah.
And same thing, right? Like if you have 5 entrepreneurs and they're all your buddies, like you're going to be an entrepreneur. Like how do you not be an entrepreneur? That's all you're like eat, sleep, breathing,
that's right.
Talking. Even when I'm like out with my friends and I'm talking to them, and all we're talking about is like what next business we're doing or how we're expanding our business or how we're building our business. And like you said, like, yeah, like for sure, surround yourself with guys that you want to look up to, and you know you're a product of your environment. Especially if you if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, then go to network meetups or go be involved with an entrepreneur and pick their brains. Like people are so friendly, and most people are out there to help you. And obviously, do your research before you take anybody's advice. But being around people and being able to kind of like pitch ideas and stuff like that and discuss things that you're doing, for sure, it's super helpful.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, that's definitely for me one big lesson, because I remember like my first business, I was basically hustling and doing everything all by myself.
Yeah, you can avoid a lot of mistakes if you talk to somebody, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember like probably like a few years later, I realized that like, oh my God, there's something I could have done. There's like a fund I could have tapped into. There's something, and I didn't know that because obviously I'm doing it all by myself.
Right.
I wasn't attending like any ecosystem or like, communities, talking to people. It's just like, okay, I can do this. I got the superpower. I'm just kind of like working on it.
Yeah.
But as you grow, you start expanding in terms of like your knowledge and experience, and then you'll be able to kind of like continue.
No, for sure. For sure. New investors, like, start networking, talk to some coaches.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great information out there, and you just kind of got to surround yourself with it, and you'll be able to kind of pick and choose what the best information is for you. But yeah, seek information. You don't have to carry a burden by yourself. Like, you don't have to reinvent how to make fire, right? Like the cavemen's had to figure it out. Like we don't necessarily have to figure it out anymore, right? Like there's lots of people on this planet that you can rely on.
Yeah.
And especially with tech, it's definitely expanded the amount of information and access to people that you can get to. Like there's so many people on Instagram, TikTok, you know, you can go on the internet and Google your way into a deep, dark rabbit hole, but information's out there, and like, it's a cool world we live in today where, you know, my parents, and I'm sure your parents too, like they lived in a different information where they only knew the person that they could talk to, and anybody further than that was too far away. And I think this younger generation is going to be able to exponentially grow as far as like tech and, you know, innovation for sure compared to, what we've been able to accomplish today.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So now we're going to move into this really fun kind of, segment that we do. It's called Pasa, and it's basically what's going on. And, so our marketing team, they're going to put up some videos that I haven't seen. Okay. And we're just going to watch it. And it's usually reno related. All right. And we're going to comment on it, and they're usually fun and exciting and interesting. So let's get on that right now. Here we go.
Okay.
If you want to manage your own properties, you need to listen to these tips.
So
tip number
giving
one,
us some tips.
and the most important tip I'm going to give you is run this like a business. There are tenants out there that want to play the system, and they can sniff a rookie out from very far away. Some ways to run it like a business are this: create yourself an LLC, have a different phone number for people to contact you,
and that's for like if you live in the
make sure you
States,
set standards the way you lease out property.
LLCs
Even if you're a solopreneur, if you appear like a business, these tenants will feel like they can get away with way less. Tip number 2, do not tell these tenants that you are the owner, even if you are.
You know what? That is a great tip. I've been around, and it's so much nicer because tenants will talk differently when you're around the owner than when they're not around the owner. And if you think you're just a worker.
And tip number 3,
fair enough.
Set expectations on late payments and evicting tenants.
Oh, that's important.
Means after the 4th of the month, if they're late, we charge $100 no matter what. And if they're still late by the 8th,
I believe this is for the States for sure.
This means that you're running it like a business, and you will not roll over and listen to sob stories. I've used these tips over the last 4 years to manage 80 properties and counting. Follow me for more tips just like that one.
Okay, so
your own properties.
Okay, so this tip, this guy's telling us about these tips. And some of these tips are really good actually because whether you're a rookie or not, like being professional is really great, especially nowadays with all the technology that's available. Like having a proper cover letter that you just go download on you know, like Microsoft Documents, grab a logo, throw it up there, and then call yourself 123 Property Management. Obviously not 123, but some sort of property management company. And when you send out letters and notices and information, like immediately as you take over the building, and they feel that there is a big company running this, they're less likely to try to play to your heart. You know, like, sometimes tenants and owners will like talk to each other, message each other. And if you give them the impression that they could call you, and like, if they message you at night and you reply to them right away, if it wasn't an emergency, they're always going to message you at night, and they're going to always expect a reply back, and you're going to create that, like, you know, that expectation for them. So every time when I talk to tenants, and even in the past when I've communicated with tenants, even as a contractor, I would try to not reply to them after hours. So like, if you need to reach me, it's 9 to 5. And then if they replied to me, even if they're trying to like make it feel like they really need me, I will like absolutely ignore them unless it's an emergency. And then at that point, the next day, first thing in the morning, I'll send them a text, or I'll schedule a text. Especially nowadays with technology, you can reply back to them, hit scheduled send, 8 in the morning, boom, you're replying to them, and they start to understand like the boundaries, right?
Absolutely. I have a lot of people that have asked me, you know, obviously because of what I do, to give them advice in terms of being a landlord and everything. And I know that like when people have one property, there's tendency for them to kind of like keep it organic by kind of like, you know, knowing that, you know, some landlords wants to know their tenants. They want to know them very well to just, you know, get that comfortable level. But I tell people, immediately you start, fine, if you have one property, okay, I get it. Maybe you have like 2-unit basements or something like that. Or, you know, but by the time you started having like your second property, you should start operating it strictly as a business, you know, because other than the fact that like, you know, from professional point of view where you you get to be able to run it well and get the appreciation you deserve from like tenants. But it also helps you, in terms of like, your finances and everything. That way you'll be able to separate things and you don't have to mix them up.
No, absolutely. Even as a contractor growing up not growing up, but as I was developing my business as a contractor, and I would use my personal credit card to buy, that sheet of drywall. Yeah. And then when I'm trying to go through my expenses, and it's like, for a while. I'm like trying to figure out, like, was this Home Depot purchase for me or was it for this job? And like, it can get really confusing. So I agree with you. And what's cool, even that separation, like just getting your tenants to go through like Cozii, where like now they have to sign up and like they're registering. So you're already creating that separation just by using your platform, which I think is amazing. Is amazing. And the other thing, for sure, don't let people know that you're the owner. Never, never. That is huge. And I've been in a unit where tenants were saying they were going to do stuff. And like, I'm the owner. Yeah. I know what you're going to do, but it's really good to know, like, they'll talk differently and pretend, or, they'll be super nice around you. And then as soon as, you leave, they're mean to other tenants and you're like dealing with complaints. So it's good to not show yourself as a tenant as much as the owner as much as possible.
So 5 reasons.
Here are the top 5 reasons I quit property management.
Why
Number
quit
one,
property
it's
management?
understaffed buildings. If one person goes on vacation or calls out, the whole operation is going down. Number 2 is underpaid employees. And this really got proven to me when rent skyrocketed and you have all this additional income and you don't give any of it back. Number 3 is growth opportunity. I started as a leasing consultant, went up to a property manager in 4 years. You can become a regional. And after that, it's so hard to get into director or VP levels that the opportunity, the growth, it's not where it should be.
So
Number
this
4,
guy
and possibly the most annoying, is all the additional mundane tasks that on-site management has to do, such as the social media for the building or planning resident events every single week.
Yeah, being a property
Number
manager.
5, and actually the most annoying thing, is the lack of work-life balance. Managers are expected to take their laptops home and work after hours. If you're on vacation, you're on call. If it's the weekend, you're on call. You have to be prepared for whatever. But in turn, no work-life balance. And it's expected. And you are looked down upon if you don't give your soul to the property management god.
Jonathan is not a happy property
manager. I honestly would never be a property manager. It is like, the most stressful job, I think, personally.
It is very stressful.
You're always dealing with shit.
Yep.
Like not shit, but like you're always like none of the tenants are calling and saying like, wow, my bathroom is working well today. Right? Nobody's calling you for that. No. Every time you're a property manager, you're getting the call like, my toilet's broken, or, my bathroom's clogged. All of this stuff. And it's a lot of work for sure. Absolutely. Especially being in a property management company. And yeah, like what he's saying, one of the first things he said why he quit property management was because there's no scaling up. There's no growing. Yeah. In the business. And I mean, there is and there isn't. I mean, you could always move to different property management companies, like bigger ones, just because the one you're running out of isn't growing as much as you had hoped. You could always side move. Like that's like another thing too. I noticed like a lot of people don't. They just stay there and they're stuck. They feel like they're stuck, but you don't need to be stuck. Like there's other opportunities, especially in property management. There's other property management companies that if you feel you're not being treated right, and this is not to do with property management at all, like any job, if you're not happy where you are, go search other things. There's lots out there, or go talk to your boss and like have a conversation. Like, I mean, I run a company and I try to always be mindful of this stuff. And I always have conversations with my team about where we are at financially or what's going on in the business so that they have a good understanding. But if you want to be a property manager and you don't want to feel like you're this guy, use a Proptech app, because it's going to eliminate a lot of this kind of headache that exists with it. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. Couple of things. One, property managers should get their flowers. Tenants should learn to give property managers their flowers. It's one of those 100%. Things that like they don't, like nobody gives you like, the commendation except when they're having troubles and when they're having problems. That's the number one. But number 2 is, if you're a property manager, then you need the solutions like Cozii, because the whole idea of being a property manager, you have like the manual process, all of the shenanigans and everything. It's tough. That's why we have system in place these days. We live in 21st century, guys. You have a platform that can help you automate your life and keep things a little bit organized. But most importantly, you have a platform that helps you to keep the tenants accountable. And that way they don't have to kind of run your vacations for you, basically.
No, for sure. And you know what, Cozii too is going to allow you to manage more units, which is going to increase profitability, I think, for sure. Whether it's Cozii or other apps, at some point it makes sense to automate stuff because, like you're saying, you don't need to deal with all the mundane tasks of entering information. Even for a maintenance request, you're going to get a call and then deal with the maintenance request. If we are in the 21st century, 90% of the people have phones and they use it on a regular basis. An app like Cozii where it's super intuitive, they can go and they can fill out the form and they can do all of the legwork for you. And now you're just dealing with information and you're not doing the manual legwork yourself.
If you have one property, that's what, there may not be a problem. But as soon as the portfolio starts scaling, you have to start, automating that process. You'll be very happy. You'll be, it will make your life excited as a property manager. Any property manager out there listening to us, change the ways in which you manage the operations of your property.
No, absolutely. All right, let's go to the next
one.
3
tips for property managers.
3 tips for property managers.
Keep clear and open lines of communication with your tenants. This means responding promptly to their inquiries and addressing any issues that might arise. Good communication can prevent small issues from turning into bigger issues. Tip 2, establish and enforce clear policies and procedures. This includes things like rent payment deadlines, maintenance requests, and guest policies. Having clear guidelines in place can help reduce conflicts and streamline the management process. And tip 3, regularly inspect your properties to identify and address any maintenance issues. By staying on top of repairs and upkeep, you can once again prevent small problems from turning into major ones. And you can keep your properties in tip-top shape.
Okay, so it's a young property manager, and she's giving out advice on how to manage your property.
And this is on TikTok, right?
And this is our TikTok, yeah. Right. So the first one she said, what was the first one?
Tips for property managers. Tip 1, keep clear and
open lines of communications.
Yeah. Clear and open lines of communications. I think that's a fundamental part of property management. Most of the issues that happen between property managers and tenants, most of the time they're because of lack of communications. Nobody knows exactly what is happening. And that is the reason why we have a system like Cozii. That way you can get notifications in real time and then you'll be able to send information, communicate with back and forth, whether between tenants and property managers or landlords, to get real-time information and communication. And it is tough when you don't have information about what is happening, because then you're in that situation like, okay, what's happening? What's up? And then that brings a lot of issues between property managers and tenants.
No, I absolutely agree. Even when I was, tenants are people too, although some landlords don't think that, but or property managers don't think that, but tenants are people too, right? So I found in being and working with a lot of property management companies and dealing with a lot of owners and tenants is that the more you communicate with your tenant and they feel heard, then the better the outcome is. Even if it's a bad outcome, is the process is a lot easier and a lot more streamlined. I was, I'm running late to a job, but I don't have a way to contact the property manager. And the tenant obviously doesn't know that I'm going to be late.
Yeah.
And then, I show up at the door and they're like, well, your notice was from this time to this time, and now I'm not going to let you in. Mm-hmm. And then it creates a whole hurdle of informations where in the Cozii Proptech, you can kind of track the location of your handyman and the tenant can even see where he's at and how, he's on his way. They're going to get that automated reply. And even just that is huge as a tenant, because then be like, hey, you know what? I got time. I got 15 minutes. I'm going to quickly shower before this guy gets here, or plan your day. Cause sometimes when we're scheduling stuff or doing stuff with tenants, we're interrupting their day. And sometimes, everybody has different stresses and you don't know what that person's going through. So it's always nice to communicate to them, which will help them plan their day around, the situation that you have to.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Let's look at any other tips.
Okay, so let's do one more, and then we'll call it. Is there any bad ones? Is there any it's gonna be tough in the property management suits.
The first two that you manage,
Okay, here we go. This is the next one here.
If you have rental properties, here is the property management software that I use to manage my rental.
She's going to talk
I'm
about
still in the
her
beginning of
software.
my real estate investing portfolio, and I actually only rent out rooms in the house that I currently live in. But I use Tenant Cloud because it has a free version, and I only need it for very specific capabilities, although it is very robust. So here are some of these services listed, and in the free version, you do get some of these capabilities. In terms of pricing, I mean, it's still not like super expensive, but for the free version, which is all I need it for because I only have 3 room rentals, these are the things that get included in your plan. Here's an example of what my dashboard looks like. And so everything is pretty organized well and divvied up nicely so you can see. And I also get notifications for when anything pops up. But yeah, this is pretty much what I use to make my life easier. I use it mostly for the screening purposes. So background and credit checks are done through Tenant Cloud, and applicants pay for it, and it gets sent directly to me for me to review. You can create a lease on Tenant Cloud, but I actually have my own, and I just upload it and have it signed outside of Tenant Cloud, but you can also incorporate that on the software. So it's very immersive to what you can do in terms of capabilities. I use it for very specific things, and as I continue to grow my portfolio, I will probably start paying for the higher features because of how seamless all the integrations are in terms of making my life in managing my property so much easier.
Okay, so it's Tenant Cloud. I don't know. Have you used Tenant Cloud?
Yeah, I've heard about Tenant Cloud. I've not used Tenant Cloud specifically, but I know of Tenant Cloud, based in the US. And I'm glad to hear that, we have here somebody like a landlord that's actually using a property management system to kind of help them automate the management of their property, and makes life much more easier for them. This is want to see more people like it.
No, for sure. Yeah, I think it seems like a pretty good system. It's very basic in compared to a very skeleton kind of platform from what I see in the video. It didn't look as robust. I mean, maybe it was just a mobile app that she was using, but I mean, as far as anything that you're going to use that's just going to help you make your life easier, why wouldn't you use it, right? I mean, that's a key to a lot of this stuff is figure out what the best way to do the same job is with the least amount of effort. And that's kind of why we're investing, so that you get your time back, right? Time is everything. Money is great, but time is everything. Have vacation. Yeah, so you can be on vacation. I mean, so you can be doing what you're doing and enjoying what you're doing. I love doing this podcast. Yeah. It's fun for me. I'm at a point in my life where I have the ability to do this, and I'm enjoying it. So go out there and get your time back, people. Whatever it takes, or figure out and talk to people. Again, that networking aspect, talk to other people. What are they using? How are they managing these hurdles and overcoming them, and you'd be surprised how much you can learn from just being in a room of other people.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Yemi, it's been awesome having you, man. When I met you at that tiny home show, like I said, you just blew my mind with your software. It's really nice to get a little dive into it. I'm definitely going to do a review for our YouTube channel as well. I'll do a deep dive onto it, go over all the costs and everything like that, and show you guys how powerful this software is going to be. And, so Yemi, how do people get a hold of you? How do we contact you? Where is Cozii? How do we get it?
Absolutely. So thank you, Mark, for having me. I hope to come back again. This is amazing show. So yeah, for Cozii, we, you can find us online, cozii.co, COZII.co. And you can also email me as well too if you have any questions, or you're looking for partnerships and all of that. Yemi@cozii.co. That's Yemi is spelled YEMI. So please give me a shout, send me an email, and or if you just have general questions about startups, entrepreneurship, and all of that, hit me up.
Oh, that's amazing. All right, guys, thanks. This was Taco, Talk About Investing podcast. You can find me on Instagram, Talk About Investing, TikTok, all of the social media platforms. We also have a Discord channel. If you want to be a part of our really cool community, DM me and we'll get you on board, and we can show you a lot of cool stuff and access to some of the exclusive things that we have, like our contractor review forums, how to manage projects yourself, and as well as we have an in-depth scope of work worksheet that we have on our platform. And, keep on listening. Please leave a link. Please leave a thumbs up, a 5-star review, yes. Comment down below or on whatever platform you're listening on, because it really helps our analytics. And thank you very much for the support. I can't be happier doing what I'm doing. Thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed the show, and thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Tacobout Investing. Join the conversation on our Discord server for more tips, advice, and speak directly to the pros, and also get access to our reno management platform. If you have any ideas for the show or any feedback, hit me up on my socials, and let's continue to talk about investing.